Okay everyone, we should be back. Hopefully I have solved the issue with this here microphone. Can you all hear me now? Mr. Topsy Turvy, thank you for letting me know, because I was a bit suspicious there that my hardware wasn't working. So let's see if I've got it right this time. So we should have some background music. You should be able to hear me through this fine microphone. You should be able to see me. Who doesn't want to see pictures of me? And also the Medulla online site should be scrolling like this, and you should be able to see everything that I do on there. Is that right? Have I got that nailed now? I hope so. All good now, says Mr. Topsy Turvy. No background music now. Oh, that's terrible. Because in the background, our music is from one of our Arts Award students. Maybe it's just a little quiet and that's part of the thing. Let me put it back on that track. So, playing now in the background, hopefully not too overpowering for my voice, I can operate it from here, is one of our students, our Arts Award students, and what she's done, she's learned how to make music production herself and also to play different instruments so she can record her own musical compositions. This is what you're hearing now. Her name is Maya Khan. Hope I've said that right. And she's asked if people could follow her on Instagram because she's quite ambitious, quite got a budding career all on the go. So I'm going to put into the chat now her Instagram account. Please give her a follow. She's really proud of her music, as she should be. Give her some good comments, give her some feedback on her, what she's done for her Part A of her Arts Awards. So that's going into the chat now. So that's her Instagram address there. Please follow her. Check her website for the latest updates. Very ambitious. I love everything I'm seeing from this student. I'm trying to keep it anonymous, but I guess I can't when she's given a name away. But great music. We think it's wonderful. She's going to do amazing on her Arts Award. That's her contribution there. Okay, before we start questions, keep them there. I want to answer everything. I did have a question on email, and this was to do with Part A. Now, this particular student has been, how can we put it, struggling to fill in the reflection questions. And the reasoning behind that was, basically, I'll summarize the email. It was like, she's seen the video, the person has seen the video. When it comes to actually answering the questions, starting to panic a little, feels a bit overwhelming. So what I thought I'd do, try and offer something a little different on here than was on the video guide that I put together. And also, if anyone in chat has any suggestions or anything that they think the student can do to help them, please put them in the chat as we go. So hopefully you can see the Medulla website. So we'll go to our course, which is the Bronze Arts Award. Of course it is. That should load up. Very tense. So the particular part our student is struggling with is this assignment here, the reflection questions. Now I get it. Apparently the mind just goes blank. It's a little overwhelming. Let's have a look. So there's my fine video there. I don't know if you can all see that. I did a little guide, really well lit, went through in as much detail as I could how to do this assignment. Again, the student confirms they've seen that and are still struggling, so we've got to work a bit harder to help them out. So if I go in, let's have a look at some of these questions. Okay, so when faced with this, it's a bit overwhelming. There's a lot to write. Students not quite, isn't feeling it. Although they've completed all the stuff for Part A, they're having trouble answering this assignment, and it's starting to get to them. So first half, just calm down. It's cool. You've done everything. You should be enjoying all this. I hope it gets better soon. I really do. So question 1, describe the arts activity you took part in. Be specific, include the experience. Okay, so all this means is, what have you been doing for Part A? What did you pick to do? I actually don't know what the student's done because obviously it's not in the assignment. So put there as a little guide. Don't just put what you've done. Don't just put African drums. Say what other things you've done. What activities did you play as a group? And how did you come to it? Did you have some experience of playing before and this was a new challenge? Or were you new to African drums, if that's what you were doing? Does that make sense? How is my chat getting on? Let me just keep checking the chat. Okay. So whatever it is you've done, you just have to put it in the box there. Could be anything artistic. It will be a decent challenge. What did you do? Did you do something every week and so forth? So don't be intimidated by the question. It's not a trick, and you don't have to get some huge academic standard of writing. Just needs a record of what you've done. Okay, question 2. What did you learn? List all the things. Try and use art-appropriate terminology. People get a bit intimidated by that. But look, the ones I've put there, and perhaps this is why the video didn't seem applicable, they apply to different music things. Whatever art form you've done, they have names for things. If you do a sport, that has a name for certain activities, certain types of movement, or certain moves. I'm trying to keep it general, but if you play rugby, there are certain moves in rugby that you will do. There are certain things in rugby that work as well. So that's all this is. When it says art appropriate terminology, things that you do in your art form, that terms that you would use. Those are some musical ones. If you're doing music, there's always going to be tempo, there's always going to be rhythm, tone, etc. Try and find out what yours are. But don't get hung up on this. Look, what did you learn? What can you do at the end that you couldn't do at the beginning? Have you picked up the guitar for the first time, let's say? Now what can you do at the end of your challenge that at the beginning of your challenge you had no hope of doing? That's all that question says. Don't be worried about it. Don't stress. And you can always, again, email us info@medulla.org.uk and ask, say, is this the sort of thing you're looking for? Have a go. Don't get too worried about it. Make a start. We can work with that. Rather than being scared to write anything, write something and we can improve on that as it goes. Okay, I'll answer questions in a bit. Just let me finish these because I'm answering the email questions. So I've got it there, Mr. Topsy-Turvy. I will answer in a second. What did you enjoy and why? Give us at least 3 things and give us a reason why you enjoyed it. Again, on paper or on the website, it can look intimidating. It can look like a big box of things needing to be filled with text. Don't stress. You probably do this with your friend when you call them over WhatsApp or Instagram or Messenger or anything. Say, what have you done today? Oh, well, I did this. I'm only going to think of musical ones because that's what I tend to be doing. So, oh yeah, I picked up the bass today. Did you enjoy it? Yeah, I really enjoyed playing bass. What did you enjoy about playing bass? Wow, when I got to make a clear note or when I got to overdrive the amp. There you go. That's it. That's all it is. Probably you're doing all these things anyway because it's presented a little differently on a website and a journal. It looks like something vastly different, but it isn't. So don't be intimidated by the journal. I'm hoping this is helping. I just wanted to record this down because I think this could be applying to a few people. It's just that particular student's brave enough to ask over email. Okay, tell us what art skills you've developed. Tell us the start and end points. So there we go. Before I started this activity, couldn't sing in tune, but now I can sing the shape of a melody where it goes up and down, even if I can't get it to perfect pitch. There, that student, that's an example of a student's answer. That student knows what they've achieved in singing. So whatever art form you've done, think, what have you developed for doing part 8? What's happened for you? What's changed? Again, I said it earlier, what can you do now that you couldn't do before you started? And that again, that could be, before this you had some ability in whatever it was you were doing. So here, I could play rhythms at 60 BPM, a slow BPM. They could play rhythms at this speed. But now, I can play it at a much faster tempo. And look, they've used the word tempo, art-specific terminology. Sounds complicated, but not really. Main thing, write something down. Tell us how you improved the art skills. What were you doing during part 8 to improve art skills? So think, did you practice every morning? Did you get a routine? Did you, even things like, while I gritted my teeth and it made me cry, but I still kept practicing and at the end I managed. Any of these things, think what you've done. What methods did you use to improve art skills? Again, like I say, it can look intimidating on the website, but you already know all the answers because you've done it. We just need to get it written down here so that the moderator is aware that you've done some reflection. But don't be scared of these questions. Always ask, like our students done, info@medulla.org.uk. Again, the background music's too loud now. Mr. Topsy Turvy said he couldn't hear it. Anyway, again, just to reference the background music for those who are in the chat now, may have come a little late to the party. This is music created by one of our Arts Award students, Maya Khan. I hope I've said that right. I've never actually heard the name pronounced, so if I got that wrong, apologies. And she's asked, this is music she's done for her Part A. She's learned music creation software. She's also learned to play the bass, the guitar, improve those skills to produce her own tracks. She's asked, can people follow her on Instagram, because she's trying to put the word out about all the music. So in the chat, I'm going to paste her Instagram. If you can follow her, give her some comments and feedback on what she's done, that'd be great. How is the background music now? And we want some happy, good comments, encouraging comments for our friend who's completed all this music. Okay, so there is the answer to our students' question on this assignment. Hopefully they can get started on that and aren't worried and going to pieces, etc. Okay, so I'll look at the chat now for some questions. Do you like my mic, by the way? Right. So, first up, we have Mr. Kumi Games says, yes, sir. Good to see you, my friend. Let me scroll down. Okay, so first I had Mr. Topsy Turvy. How much arts terminology do I need to put in there? Okay, so in this assignment specifically, yeah, how much arts terminology? As you can see, for question 2, there's lots of terms. As much as you can is the answer there. It's a lot of this is very loose and based on what you're doing for real. So there will be specific words. Don't get too hung up on getting these in. It just shows understanding. If someone knows what they mean when they say the word tempo, that shows you understand music terminology a little better than if someone just says, oh, I played it faster and slower. There's a term for that. It's called tempo. So, and if you're doing photography, focusing, aperture, depth of field, these are all things that art form has as part of, things that people in that field, artists in that field, will use this terminology all the time. You didn't catch me, I didn't stutter. They'll use these words all the time. Not a big deal. The main thing is you can put that in there so that the moderator checks it out and knows, they've learned different things that are said in the arts world. That's all part of the study. There is no massive guideline. There's not like a minimum amount you have to put in, but get as much as possible. Again, don't get hung up on it. You can always ask, if you've got a teacher, someone's teaching you to play guitar, you can say, oh, what's that technique we've just learned? String bending, fingerstyle guitar. There are names for things. That's all that terminology means. Does that answer the question, Mr. Topsy Turvy? Okay. Reality Coach is here. Nice to see you. Amoeba says, I've uploaded evidence to my Part B folder. Can you check through and let me know if that's good enough? You want my judgment on your submissions. Oh, your entries. Okay, I can't do that as part of the stream, only because I'd have to go into your personal profile and that would be streamed live to the world. And the whole point of this was we could keep it, it's just questions on the screen that we can then share with everyone else who may be struggling with the same issue. Of course, I'm more than happy to check all the evidence and give you some recommendations, but email us or wait till we've ended the stream and then I'll check it then. Okay, I have another question, but the answer is, of course, I'll always check your work, and that's part of what I do here to help you get your arts award as good as it can be, but I won't do it live in front of everybody. Okay, I've got I can't pronounce it. I've got a couple questions about Part D. I'd like to share some skills that I feel improve my creative writing with some friends who also like to write. Okay, After that, I'd like to get them to do about a page of creative writing using the methods I've taught them. Is this a good way to pass on my art skills? Sounds brilliant. So for your part D, which is again for just so everybody knows what we're talking about with part D, you've got to share a skill in the arts, one that either you've learned doing this or one that you knew before. The music distracted me, it's that good. One that you know and you want to pass something on. So the whole point is that you've taught something to somebody else. So what we've got here is a creative writer, and he's got some skills in that, he or she, sorry, I can't tell by the username, and it will improve the creative writing of the students. And then to measure it, they're going to get the students to do around a page of creative writing, and you're going to be checking that they use the methods. I think that's brilliant. That sounds amazing. What's your lesson plan? You can message that to us, or you can put it onto the stream. I think as a concept it's brilliant. Yeah, I can really clearly see what you're going to do. As with everything, make sure there's evidence. I'll keep coming back to that because all that looks brilliant, but when the moderator checks, not me, I trust you, I know you're good people, the moderator won't know anything about you. They'll just look on and go, where's the proof that this student has done this? So make sure that each stage you've evidenced something. But this is brilliant. Get a kind of lesson plan. How do you see the lesson going? How are you going to start? How are you going to, show them those concepts? You might have examples of writing that you've done and tell them to look for these techniques and then test them there. So I think that's brilliant. Keep asking me though if I've not answered your question there, but from what you've written, sounds spot on. Reality Coach asks, how many times can you submit your evidence? As many as you need to. The way the site was set up here was that originally it was for people to answer quizzes and then be graded. We're not doing that with this award. You just, on the site, if you've already completed these, let's say part A, this assignment, you've completed it and you think, I wish I'd put that. As long as we're in deadline and it's not gone to the moderator. Let me just see. Can you all see the website, by the way? I have return to attempt, so I can go back to it at any point. Or there is another way when it's listed out here like this. Again, I haven't attempted. This is just an example account, so there are no attempts. But if I had, I could go into that section and there would be continue the last attempt, or here there would be resubmit an attempt. All of this, you can do that as many times as you want. Make sure to save it at the end. Scroll right down to the bottom and click save, because otherwise you'll have written it all up and then it won't be saved and I won't see it. But this is the point here. There at that page there will be options to resubmit the assignment or to continue the assignment if you haven't pressed submit. But there is no limit to how much you can add, and I encourage it, because each time you do a new session you've got new things to write up. Maybe you've discovered something new, maybe there's something more revelations, or you want that in here. So that's always open. Keep coming back, keep adding to it. Mr. Ryo Quinn has given me a wave. Okay, have I answered the questions sufficiently? Are there any others? I haven't missed any of them. I'm scrolling up. What's arts terminology? We've answered that. Again, anyone else who has come into the stream late, I'm going to post it again. The background music you are hearing is from Maya Khan, and again I apologize if I've said that wrong. I've only seen it written, I have never heard the name said to me, and this music was created for part A of her arts award. So I'll just loop it again. So she learned sequencing software, computer-based recording programs, also bass guitar, and I think other instruments as well, to make her own composition. So there's lots of different art forms tied up there. She's been very ambitious, and she's asked if people can follow her on Instagram and her main channel, and I'll post it in the chat again. Please give her a follow, give her some comments on her work. She worked very hard, very proud of it, rightly so. So there, that's in the chat now. I'm getting good at this here Twitch thing. Oh, I've got some more questions. Sorry guys. For Part D evidence, do photos and a written account of what happened suffice, or is video, audio recording needed? Okay, think of it like this. What sums it up best? Video and audio recording show music better than writing it up. Right, I've not explained that very well. Evidence is just think of it like proof that you've done what you've said. So what I tend to do is go, right, well, if you've done music, if I can see the person playing it and hear it, that's better evidence than if you just took a photograph and said, this is them playing, I can't hear what they've done. So for Part D, or for any part, think what's appropriate. For what you've said here is photos and a written account. Yes, because their tasks that you've set in creative writing, that will also be evidence. You've got the students' creative work that you've set for them. That's evidence too. If the moderator says, well, how do I know they've done it? So, well, here's a picture of them doing it. That works. So audio and video isn't necessary. I mean, if you wanted, you could take some video of them, or they could take it of themselves doing the tasks you've set. Of course, that counts. But for written creative writing, I don't think that's essential, so don't stress on that. But then for other things, like I've said, a photo of people playing music isn't as good as audio or video playing music. So it's specific for different genres, different art forms. But for what you're doing, I'd say photographs and a written account, and if they're uploaded, that's brilliant. So don't stress on that one. What do I do if I'm having trouble finding terminology specific to my art form? Good question. Okay, if you're struggling, and it's not always obvious, one of the things, even if you've got a teacher, they may just use these terms all day, every day. So think of all the things that we just take for granted that everybody knows. It'll be really obvious stuff. So a photographer will say these things and not realize that's art terminology. It's now part of who they are. So first thing I'd say, if you've got someone teaching, just ask and say, oh, what's that thing? You know, I'll bring it back to guitar. If a student asks me, what's that technique we've just done there? What's it called when we've done this exercise? What's that? What is the terminology? And they should be able to say, we've just worked on double stops. We've just worked on parallel sixths. Oh, we've just worked on, loudness and quietness, ears, which musical element, dynamics. We've added more musicians to the thing. We've thickened the texture, etc. So first port of call, if you've got a teacher, just ask. The second port of call, email us, info@medulla.org.uk with the art form you're studying, and we will send you some tips on what they might be or where to find them. Third one is the internet and Google and friends and so forth, and actually just ask around that way. Type into Google. If you're doing photography, type in common terms in photography and see which ones have applied to what you're doing. I think that works. We have a question here. When playing a guitar, how do I learn to position my fingers more easily? Okay, so this is specific. I take it you're doing this for Part A. Okay, I'll probably do. If you message info@medulla.org.uk after the stream, we can set something up, and I'll actually go through that with you a bit more in depth than we've got here. But as a rule, so if you want to, once the stream's done, start trying it. All I would say, start really, really slowly and be really, really conscious of where you're positioning your fingers. Do you mean on this hand or on this hand? Two different recommendations there. If you mean the fretting hand, the hand you use to make the notes there, very slowly, very consciously, and be aware of any tension in the hand. Because sometimes, especially when it's the start of learning guitar or any other instrument, you can often make the result that you want, but with tension. So it might seem I've got it, but if you're squeezing too hard, this hand's going to be working really hard. So I'm trying to keep it simple and generic, and I'm failing. But think of how much pressure you're putting here. Usually, speed comes from only using the minimum amount of pressure, and then you don't have to fight it to get your finger off to move to the next fret. Does that help at all? If not, messages, and I'm happy to set up a Twitch just about that, because I'm a guitar player. I've been told, excellent, thank you very much. Yes, I am rather good, aren't I? If we could just think about that for a minute. I'm starting to get arrogant. Let's move on. Okay, I'm finding it hard when I need to position them far away. Okay, just from what I'm reading you having to position. The written word's difficult. Message us info@medulla.org.uk and we will set something up, a Twitch stream, and I'll have the camera on my guitar fretting, and we can do that, no problem. And I'll take you through every little thing. There's a lot more. People, you know, especially if you're watching a really good player, it looks like all these problems you're having just magically never exist for them or for me, etc. And of course, the truth is, it existed for everyone. You're not having anything that any guitar player hasn't had to go through and conquer to get to where they're at. So don't worry about that. The main thing, think about tension in the hand, because everything comes from keeping this as gentle as possible. If you want, and you're able to, take a video of what you're doing, and you can even speak on the video, this is where I'm having problems. If I can see that, I can see the hands clearly, I'll probably know what needs to be looked at to work on that. So that's another incentive, another way we can get through that. Reality Coach asks, let me know when you do that session on the guitar. Yes, I will, of course I will. And Topsy Turvy, how do I know when I've done enough for part A? Yeah, good question, because part A is quite open. It's quite easy to never realise, have I done enough to submit for part A? Does it need to be more in depth? And often I think once you get into doing an art form or studying it, because you could go on forever, like guitar, I've never stopped learning. So where do I stop and say, that's my part A? I get the question. It's basically supposed to be a substantial and honest attempt at an art form. So again, that's quite open, that's quite vague, I understand that. But have a think. I mean, if you were to just do an hour on something and say, right, that's my part A, that's probably not enough. You haven't explored the art form enough, you've not got enough there to learn lessons. But let's say we tend to think like a term's worth of work, or even a half term at a push, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, so much each day or each week that you can chart your progress. The main thing is to explore the art form, like we've put there, and do enough to answer those reflection questions. So again, there isn't a definitive answer, I get that, but also you don't need to play guitar for 20 years before part A is finished. As long as you've learned things and you can say what they are, I think that's usually a good guide. And it usually happens around the 6 week or 12 week mark, you know, where we normally have our half term or full term breaks for school holidays. That's usually a good marker. So what have you done since the start of term? Where is it now? That's usually pretty good. And that's substantial. There's enough in there to write it up and say you've given it a good effort. So yeah, if you just do an hour one afternoon, that's part A, yeah, you know, that's not really the spirit of it. You won't really learn that much there. But yeah, a few weeks I would say. Does that answer the question? Does that help? Okay, I think questions are good. Is there anything else for anybody? Yes, thanks, I've been told. Oh, and I've paused the chat, so can you all see the chat as it's scrolling up? Okay, it's really great doing this, by the way. I'll just drop in what I've done this week. It's been like my explore classes, they've been looking at part C, the create part, which has been composition. So one of the groups has been writing djembe call and answers on African drums. They've been creating that from scratch. We did djembes in part A, where they learned how to play them, and then part C, we've done creating their own djembe parts. Remember, this is the Explore Award, so if you're doing bronze, it's not the same process. So these are a primary school age, let's say, but they've been brilliant, they've been fantastic. And then my guitar group of the same age, they've been writing little guitar riffs, learning how to write a riff and how to keep it in time and stuff, and that's their part C. And then also, when I've not been doing that, I've been in the studio pretty much all week with a master kora player called Sefo Kanute, who's from the Gambia, and we're cutting an album. Hopefully restrictions are eased and we get to tour all through the summer and autumn of this year. So if you're looking for an artist to chart the progress of, and you want someone a bit different, I would definitely suggest checking him out for your part B. Is it part B? Yeah, as an audience member. There's plenty of live footage there. And if you're doing the Explore Award as an artist to check, he's one. And yeah, for your part C, an arts hero, there's a guy from Africa. Not a lot of money, not a lot of opportunity. He's made a big name for himself, so you can chart his journey there and see what lessons you can learn. If you're struggling for someone to check out, I thoroughly recommend him, and it's a great honor to play with him. Can I do a session where I play the guitar? Yes, I can. I will do that. I will advertise that. I'll let you all know. Main thing, message us info@medulla.org.uk so that I know when you can actually watch the stream, and we can sort it out that way. Friday nights are really about completing the journal and any general questions. So it's not a guitar stream. It's not specific to art forms, but I'll arrange those, like I said, specific to what you need. No problem. Of course, we'll do that. But keep Friday's stream about the site here if you're having any problems completing the journal and anything that you're struggling with that think other people, whatever art form they're doing, they can listen to my answers to your question, and then maybe that helps them complete their award. But yes, the guitar stream, you've got it. You don't need to keep asking. You've got it. I'm here for you. All right. Okay. Do we all know, have I said it enough? You all know who's written the music that's in the background. Do you all know? Baz is in. He says, hi, Mr. Will. Hi, Baz. Baz, just because you've said hi, I'm going to go through it again because I don't think I can ever do it enough. The music you are hearing in the background, do you like my mic, by the way, Baz? Look at that. It looks real, doesn't it? The music you are hearing in the background, or should be hearing if it's right, is written by one of the Arts Award students for their Part A. They've learned how to use computer software to record music. They've also taught themselves on bass guitar and other instruments to produce the music you're hearing now. And we've asked, quite rightly so, can people follow on Instagram? And I will post it into the chat now. Maya Khan, and I'm hoping that I've said that right, and again I have full apologies because I've never heard it actually said. It's really good music. If you have Instagram and you can follow there, please go and check it out. Really ambitious, writing loads of music, wants as many people to see it as possible. It's done a brilliant Arts Award, so by all means check that out, give us some comments. Any more questions, people? I'm here. It's Friday. It's going to be the weekend soon. Everything's good. I've answered everything ever. Wow, I'm good. I am really good. Topsy-turvy. 4 of my students are in a band. Are they able to continue their learning on individual instruments? They've all been learning for 3+ years for Part A. Okay, so Topsy-turvy, you got 4 people doing Arts Award, and for Part A, they want to stay in the band, or they want to split the band up to. You're saying, do they have to split the band up to do Part A? Don't do that. That's terrible. No. Don't split up the band. Okay, I think I know what that question means. Let me have a stab at it. There's a band. 4 people are in the band. Different instruments. That's what I'm getting from that question. So, could they still do work in the band, but on their own instruments, and that would count as a part A. Is that what you're asking me? And it's gone quiet. I don't know the answer. Yes, I am that good. I decoded the question. I'm in a silly mood, can you tell? Right, yes, if you're in a band making music, yes, you can all do. I see, so they're probably all going to do the same show as a band, but they're all wanting an individual arts award. I get it. So yeah, as long as we went over part A's questions, didn't we? As long as it's all evidenced their bit of the final art form, of course. So that's good. That's just good group work. So as long as the guy on bass or the lady on bass or whoever it is on bass has charted where they started, how they got along in their arts award, and where they finished up, the fact that it's been produced as a band, that doesn't matter as well. They've just done it as a group. Well, a mixture of in a group and individual practice. So the portfolio will just be them. It'll just be their journey specifically. So everyone in the band will have 4 separate journeys there, but they'll have come together at the end, like all good bands do, to produce a piece of music or a tour or whatever. But when I look at the individuals' journals on Medulla Online, it should only show that person's award. So no copying. So if the bass player or the drummer hasn't done the work and they go, Mr. Guitarist, give me your journal, I'll just copy all that. No. That's not going to fly. Mr. Drummer fails the Arts Award. Basically, it's their own journey, even if they've done it with others. Does that make sense? Have I explained that well, chat? Can you just let me know if I've orated that correctly? Okay, thanks. Does everyone else understand that? Even though you're in a group, all your journal should say is what you've done. So, don't write up, the drummer can't keep time. That's nothing to do with your Arts Award. That's the drummer needs to write that in their Arts Award. So even though we're doing the same piece of music. And I've been told I've explained it well. So get that. I am the man. I explained it well. Are there any other questions? I'm loving it. I think this is great. Thanks for all the questions and giving me the chance to answer them. Often people can just sit and suffer in silence and go, this big question. So I'm really grateful that our student emailed us about the questions rather than staying silent and just suffering and never getting started. Hopefully now our student can get a start on that part A reflection questions and it's not as intimidating. If it still is intimidating, you still can't get started, don't give up. Message info@medulla.org.uk anytime, and I'll try my best to help. You can do this. It's all fine. It's nothing you haven't done already. It probably just looks a bit different because it's on a computer screen on the official website. Don't be intimidated. You're doing it all already. Okay. I'm waiting for questions. There must be questions. Maybe there aren't questions. Maybe it's Friday night and people want to get on with fun things. Not that Arts Award isn't a fun thing. Of course it is. Please don't fire me, whoever pays for this. I'm in a silly mood, man. I'm so sorry. Okay, I guess we've answered everything for now. Oh, can we get the highest grade doing it this way? Can we get the highest grade doing it this way? Okay. I'm trying to understand. Sorry. Can we get the highest grade doing it this way? Yes. Can we get the highest grade doing it this way? No. I don't know which was the better answer. Arts Award though, a general point. As long as everything is done in those sections, and I'll have reviewed it, or a different Arts Award advisor, and they'll say you need to give me some more evidence, or you need to answer more depth in the questions, or I'll say go find me some more arts terminology because your questionnaire answers are a bit thin on that. As long as that's done, by the time it's submitted, you will pass the Arts Award. It's not really graded like your GCSEs or your A levels. There's just a pass and fail. or they call it working towards, so they don't like the word fail, let's say, but essentially it's just a pass mark. So I'd encourage you to do whatever you think gives you the highest grade in your own mind. What do you think is a good grade? So ask me all the time. So yeah, Baz has gone, okay, so yeah, you just pass the arts award when everything's done to satisfaction. So there isn't a scale as such. Thanks, Mr. Will. Wow, thank you, sir. Okay, I guess I'm going to wrap this up unless there is anything pressing. Like I say, please, and I'll do it one last time. I'll post it in there. Instagram. Oh, I've deleted a word, so I need to put that back in. Instagram. Has that worked? Have you all had that in the chat? Mario Khan, who's written this fine music you're hearing in the background. If anyone else has anything they want us to show as part of the live stream that you're particularly proud of, send it in advance. Of course, I want to share as much Arts Awards stuff with everyone as possible. The more you can see of each other's work, the better. Again, like I said, I think to Amoeba earlier, I can't go through your personal profile on here because there'll be pictures, maybe something sensitive. We're trying to keep it general and anonymous, so it just helps everybody. So specific info, messages, info@medulla.org.uk, and I'll look at it and get back to you. Same, the guitar stream, send us a message, I'll set that up. It will be my pleasure to help you learn guitar. Make sure you record the stream or ask me for that, because that can be evidence of what you've been learning. Okay, and if you are struggling with your fingering for the fretboard, get a little video down, tell us exactly where you're struggling, save that, upload that to your evidence as well, because what that will show is like, at this date, 19th of March, here was what I was struggling with. Maybe after a few weeks of the Arts Award, you've conquered that, and there in your Arts Award journal, it shows you've progressed from struggling to actually being able to do it. Big deal. Again, if you're not planning in advance how to journal it all, you'll get to the end having completed it, and you'll be like, Brill, I can play all this, and the moderator won't know that you were struggling with it on the 19th of March 2021. So do you see, it's a little alien in terms of, a little alien, like the movie. Don't think that, I was kidding. It's a little, I was going to say something else that didn't work either. It's a little bit different to think, oh, each time I do something, I need to journal it. But the more you can do, the better it shows your journey. Okay, I've been told, thank you for your answers, Mr. Will. Definitely cleared up some things. That was really useful. Brilliant, that's what I like to hear. So again, message at any point, or save, or come to these streams and ask as much as you want. I really want to help you. But what you've put for the creative writing sounds brilliant. It's well thought out. There is a video there for part D as well. I don't know if you have seen it. All the sections on the award have got guide videos of how to do things. So if you were to scroll to part D, the Skillshare, there's 3 different videos. We've got one, what Skillshare is about, how to plan it there, and then how to review it afterwards. So there should be a lot of answers in there, but that doesn't mean I'm not, if you're still confused, please ask and check everything with me. I'm more than happy to look that over. Very helpful. Thank you, Mr. Hope you have a great Friday evening. I always have a great Friday evening. It's always great. That goes without saying. I hope you all have great Friday evenings. Right. Thank you, guys. Be sure to give her a follow on Instagram. It's in the chat. She's doing really well. So let's give her some encouragement. All right. See you next week at 5 p.m, guys. And message me so we can set up a guitar stream. Can't wait for that. All right.